So, but you said that you were saying something that you feel bad for John. Is that the deal?
I do feel bad. Listen, John is not a good guy. I think most people that know John know that he's not a good soul, but he's also a lost human being. He's a raging alcoholic. I can't imagine going from what John had at one point in his life. He was an icon, a national, maybe even a global icon. You could say the name Stuttering John anywhere in the world, and it would be like Pepsi Cola. It was that kind of brand. And then he got on it by some miracle, the Jay Leno show, and it was amazing what he accomplished in his life. So to go from that to where he is now has got to be one of the biggest falls from grace anyone has ever seen. And I find it very sad. And I find it sad for John. And to watch him in the state he's in and the way he looks, his health, the drinking, everything about him, it's just gross and disgusting. And I'd like to think it's a character he's portraying, and maybe in real life he's not like that. But I don't think so. I think that's John now, and it kind of breaks my heart because I know John longer than I know you, and I remember him from those years. And to see this guy, it's sad. He lost his wife, he lost his kids. I don't know what he does for money or any income. Everybody hates his guts, and he goes on this podcast, and he just makes it worse for himself with every show. And yes, is he making himself notorious? Yes, but it's not a good look, and not in a good way. And I'm a kind of guy that believes as long as they get your name spelled right, any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah,
I
sorry about that.
I
Uh,
I, I
Oscar
don't think that.
Electric. So I have somebody,
Yeah,
not Oscar, but somebody is kind enough to do those really cool little promos and shit for me. And
yeah.
I like for when you type it in the way you spell it, nobody wants the computers don't want to fucking push it through because it's like Chaunce, and then it's like no wrong. It's like it's spelled wrong. Then you got to go back and it's spelled wrong. It's
Yeah.
so.
That's all good. But anyway, yeah, John just kind of I feel sorry for him, and I feel sorry for all the people like Shuley, who make their living just attacking a pathetic character like John.
Well,
It
I think in Shuli's defense, John earned it.
he earned it. No,
I'm
he did
sure
earn it.
there was something. I think it was a matter of how many times can you get be pushed around. And I again, my status with John right now is even. There is no animosity either way. Okay.
Yep.
So, and for the first time in a long time, with someone I know, I don't have any problems with him. Okay. That being said, John is a button pusher. He will
Yep.
push your buttons until you, and then he doesn't know when to stop.
No.
And he's always like and he's never wrong. He's always right. And for years and years and years, I put up with that for a long time. And now
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
the reason why I was at a status quo with John is because after all those years, I finally don't feel I'm getting that vibe from him anymore. And for me, someone who's dealt with it for over 30 years as well, I feel like it's finally it's like that weight lifted off my shoulders where I don't have to worry that John's going to do something behind my back, and maybe he will. I still don't know that, or John's going to say something to. I feel for the first time that maybe it's a normal relationship and a normal friendship, and that's the
He
reason
may
why
he
I'm
may
not
get mad
picking.
at you for having me on. Like he may trash you for having me on as a guest. Anything could happen with John. But John's not a good guy. He's a bad man, but he's also an alcoholic, and I think that's part of his problem.
Well, no, see, that's where you're wrong, Chauncey, because alcoholics go to meetings. John is a drunk.
Oh, okay, well, apples and oranges. He drinks a lot. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And I think most of the things that go wrong in his life involve drinking. And i- if I was him, I'd get off the internet and I'd try to repair the damage he's done with his children.
Yeah, I think that's the plan. John shed $3. John wants to hurt people. He's fair game.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
that's true. That's true. But I also think it's bad karma. Like if I made my living, just my whole life, my whole existence was making fun of John. I I think that's bad mojo, man. I I I don't know anybody. If you make a living just attacking someone every single day, and that's how you make your money, it's bad.
Yeah. So John Jacob Shed said, "I like you, Chauncey, but saying John is an icon is an insane. He was a radio stunt boy. He never had any talent."
I'm not saying he had talent, and I'm not saying he's an icon now, but in the 1990s, John was an icon. He just was, and to say he's not is just not being. It's ingenuous to say he's not because he was. He was an icon in the 1990s. Like a lot of the guys on Stern were. You, Steve, you were an icon. You're the most famous intern in the world.
It was weird. One night I was actually it was like maybe 10, 15 years ago in Vegas. I was at Benihana, and right the table across from me was Monica Lewinsky. And I was like, that's kind of weird. Two of the most famous interns, like
Yeah,
infamous
that
interns
would have been a
ever.
great photo.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
would have been
right.
a great photo.
So regardless of these people trying to dox me, I still got super tips coming through, many more than I do. John wants to hurt people. He's fair game. We did that one by John Shed, and this is another $5 super tip coming through from John Shed. I like you, Chauncey, but I'm in the played zone. I got to go to the unplayed zone. See, this is why I need someone doing this. I don't. You know what? I don't know, bro. But because I guess you can, if someone has a question you don't like, I guess you can pass it up. So I like how people calling me a retard, not and then to apologize because I just cow down. I bow down to people like that. Apologize. I'm gonna say it one more time. I do not like doxing at all. If
And
I knew
Steve,
Jerry was that big of a fucking doxer, I won't have him on the show. I
and
wouldn't have
that's
him help
it.
me out, and I'm not gonna do it again.
And that's it,
Okay.
Steve. You've apologized. I wouldn't say
I'm not
another word about
apologize
it.
for what.
You didn't. That's what I'm saying. You said how you feel. I think everybody that watches your show that likes you understands, and I wouldn't say another word about it. You don't owe anybody anything. You don't. You're a good
Yeah.
guy. You're a good guy. You don't owe anybody anything.
Oh, but I tell you, I will not have anything to do with Jerry with this show ever again, and that's it. That's the closest to an apology I'll give because I'm not. I didn't do anything wrong. When you do something wrong, you apologize. And if I told someone to shut the fuck up because they're out on a fucking public platform trying to take money out of my pocket, goddamn right I'm gonna get pissed.
Well, you know what, Steve? This shows the kind of guy you are because most people really wouldn't give a shit. This I can tell this is really bothering you. Like I can see how upset you
Well,
are.
no, I need to be
And that's
addressed.
because you're such a good stand-up guy. You can't believe people would think ill will of you. You can't handle it. Let it go because you are a good guy. You don't have to worry. You're a good guy. Everybody knows you're a good guy. Don't worry. Don't worry.
I'm good. I just, these people I get. I would never give out anybody's information. I'm not a rat, and I think that's a
Yeah,
rat thing to do. If John does it,
of
then
course.
makes him a rat. But I think the John Shuley thing was that, John just pushes, and then I think Shuley just broke and finally said, "I had enough of you, bro."
Yeah, but that's not just breaking. That he makes his living off of John, and
Well, yeah, but
that's
how
kind
can
of crazy.
who's suing who and who's right? These
Yeah,
lawyers
every
cost
day it's
money.
something else, and these aren't 25-year-old men. These are almost senior citizens. Like these are old guys now.
Well, again,
It's crazy.
I can't like blame Shuley for figuring an algorithm out that made him money.
Yeah, well, he
Well,
makes
let's
money
all
off.
get together
Well,
and fucking trash John. When it comes to affecting people's lives outside of this,
yeah.
that's where I draw the line and have a problem. I just never do anything like that.
If you were going to pay me 10 grand a month to make fun of John every day, I don't think I could do it. I don't. I don't think I could sleep at night. I mean, if I had a show and John came up as a topic, right, every now and then, and it was funny, that's one thing. But the show is based, the entire premise of the show and the dabverse is making fun of John, who's a pathetic character. At this point, it's like he's like the Hunchback in Notre Dame. You know what I mean? When I see John, it's like people throwing lettuce at him, and he's in a circle, and his back's all hunched up, and he has a
Oh,
funny.
jeez.
That's what I see John as now.
Sanctuary.
I'm not an animal. That's what I see when I think of John.
Fuck.
I can't even watch. It's hard. It's hard to even watch. It really is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just my feeling. But whatever, everybody got to your own life and do what you got to do.
Yep.